Hello to all our KTV Live viewers and listeners in Liberia, Africa, and around the world. I am Cordo, your KTV Live friend and reporter. I bring you the latest news and update events making news in Liberia and the alarming use of drugs in Liberia and across the globe. Thousands gathered to protest the use of drugs in Liberia. Those among the protesters were youth groups, elderly men and women as they protest not only in the streets of Monrovia but Buchanan and other parts of the country to demand tougher action against the trafficking and abuse of illicit drugs across the country. The protesters shouting as they march saying, "We're tired with Kush, say no to drugs," and "No more zombies," as they march through the capital of counties including Monrovia. They show of force echo their voices highlighting the devastating toll drugs, especially Kush, cocaine, Italian white, and marijuana, are taking on families and communities. Some protesting were parents and relatives of victims of drug addiction. They all unite with one voice sending a clear message asking the government to act now to stem the growing drug crisis or risk further societal collapse. One protester speaking to the press said, "Please, our children are dying. We are mocked in our communities because our sons and daughters have turned into zombies on the streets. We need the government to take this fight seriously." The protest across the country comes at a time when Liberia is grappling with a surge in the number of at-risk youth, often referred to as Zogos. These youths end up living on the streets and struggle with severe drug addiction. District No. 10 Montserrado County and a fierce advocate for youth development, has issued a stark warning in the face of Liberia's growing drug epidemic. James Holder Nguyen warns any Liberian found harboring or operating a drug den must be arrested, prosecuted, and jailed, even if it's your own family. He says, "You cannot build a ghetto in a residential area and expect peace. If you are destroying a generation, you are an enemy of the state." Also in support of anti-drug fight, a team of ECOWAS Parliament is in Liberia, to address the escalating public health and security threat posed by drug abuse across West Africa. For his part, President Joseph Numa Boakai has announced sweeping new measures to combat Liberia's growing drug crisis, declaring the government's response will be non-selective and relentless. Speaking on behalf of the President of Liberia, Presidential Press Secretary Attorney Kula Bonanye Fofana outlined saying the President has ordered that funding be prioritized for a comprehensive national response, Fofana said. This includes the introduction of an anti-drug curriculum in schools, random drug testing, increased operational and logistical support for the Liberia Drug Enforcement Agency, LDEA, expanded rehabilitation services, advanced port and border surveillance technologies, and sustained public education and judicial support mechanisms. President Boakai was quoted as saying that no status, no title, no uniform, and no connection will protect anyone involved in drugs. Kia TV is calling the government of Liberia to declare war on drug use and stronger penalties for the sale and use of drugs that will lead to life imprisonment for drugs dealers or traffickers. A clear public example need to be set on the use of drug in Liberia. The legislators need to pass a more direct and forceful law on drugs use before it's too late for the country. 1. Strengthening regulations and law enforcement. Enforce stricter regulations on the production, distribution, and consumption of illicit drugs. Enhance monitoring and control of precursor chemicals used in drug manufacturing. Combat corruption within law enforcement and government, as it facilitates drug trafficking. Investigate and prosecute individuals involved in organized crime and drug trafficking more vigorously, utilizing measures like asset forfeiture provisions where available. Improve border controls to curb the cross-border illicit drug trade. KTV Live is encouraging not only Liberians, but both all young and old people in Liberia, Africa, and the world including the United States of America, know where and how drugs is used and spread, avoiding places where you know drugs and alcohol will be available. Surrounding yourself with friends who don't use drugs. Know how to resist temptation. Learn how to cope with stress and relax without drugs. Distract or use other ways to prevent drugs use like exercising or listening to music. If someone being you or try giving you drugs, tell the person you don't want to drink or use drugs. Say something like, "No, I'm sorry, but I don't use." "No, I'm really trying to stay clean." "No, I'm trying to cut back." Give a reason why you don't want to drink or use. On behalf of the management of KTV Live, I am Cordo, Your Liberian news reporter thanks for watching. Please join us and say no to drug use.